All right guys, welcome back. Today we'll be going through installing Lift RideControl on the F-150. The reason we're doing this is the trailer I pull is roughly 10 to 11,000 pounds, and I recently upgraded the rear shocks to the Bilstein 5100s, which definitely improved the towing capability. Didn't increase the amount I could tow, it just increased the stability and the bouncing that we get with the stock suspension. So those 5100s definitely helped. I do have a weight distribution hitch. I actually run a Hensley hitch on the trailer. I'll do a review on that hitch shortly, so stay tuned for that. But with the Hensley hitch, it has weight distribution, and I definitely get the weight distributed between the rear and the front tires very good. I'm just looking to get some more stability out of the rear end, because towing this kind of weight behind the F-150, you definitely feel it, and you get a little bit of squishiness out of that much weight on the back of the F-150. So I thought some airbags would definitely help with that. A little background on the truck: it's a 2020 F-150 Lariat. It's the blackout special edition. Not that that matters, but it's got a max tow package. The dealer said that it should be able to tow 12,500. And so, like I said, our trailer usually ranges from 10 to 11,000 pounds. I've pulled it 3 times. Truck does fantastic, has no issues at all pulling it. It's just the rear suspension soft, front suspension soft. The factory tires are, 4-ply or 6-ply tires, so they're soft. I do have plans to get some 10-ply tires soon, or probably in the spring. So adding these airbags should definitely help stiffen the rear end up and give me some more control. All right, we'll get everything taken apart, and you'll have to excuse all the noise. I got tons of construction going on here in the neighborhood, so sorry about all the noise and all the traffic, but let's walk you through the install. All right guys, here's what we got. We got the Lift RideControl. It's the 1000 series, so it only will allow for 2,000 pounds of load leveling. There is a 5000 series, but for an F-150, it's definitely overkill. I'm not trying to raise the rear end of the truck up. I'm not trying to get any additional towing capabilities, just more control, a little bit firmer ride in the back. Got all the tools out and ready. I'll leave a description of all the tools that you need for this install down in the description, so check that out. But there we go, we got that going, and let's get the install started. All right guys, we got step 1 done. We were able to get the back wheel off and get everything on jack stands. Everything's secure, good to go. Got the back wheel off. The next step was to get the airbags mounted on the brackets, and also put the air fittings on top. You're supposed to tighten those down hand tight, and then do a 1.5 with your 1/2 wrench after that. And then on the bottom, with the provided bolts, just bolt them up on the bottom. Next step is to remove the bump stop with a 13mm wrench. We'll get that removed. All right, with the bump stop out, you want to grind off this lip so that it sits nice and flush with the actual housing of the bump stop. Once you do that, just tape off the yellow, throw some black paint on there to prevent rusting. All right, next step was to install the U-bolts around the back of the frame. One thing to note is there are brake lines on the back of the frame, so you want to be sure that you get those U-bolts behind those brake lines. You don't want to pinch those whenever you cinch everything down. Now we want to install the upper bracket. Another thing to note is they are marked L and R. You can see the L there. You want to make sure the L goes on the driver's side. Once you get that installed, the next thing to do is reinstall the bump stop with the part that we grinded off, and that is smooth with the housing. Make sure that's facing out. I'll get these 2 things installed and we'll go from there. All right, we got the top bracket and the bump stop reinstalled. We torqued the bolts for the bracket to 10 foot-pounds, and the bolt for the bump stop to 30 foot-pounds. Next thing to put on is the bottom bracket with the airbag. Okay, we got the bottom bracket installed with the airbag. Technically, you're supposed to have the suspension down all the way so that that airbag's not compressed like that when you install it. But being that this is being done in my garage with jack and jack stands, it is what it is. It still goes in the same way, just looks a little different from other videos that you might find online. Got the U-bolts installed. The one part that is really hard to show is the lock washer and bolt for the top up here. In order to get this on, you just gotta kind of thread it in there with your hands. Get them around there, get it on, hand tighten it down. It threads on really easy. You can get it all the way hand tightened down. There we go. We got that installed, everything lined up. Next thing to do is run the air lines. All right, one thing I wanted to address real quick as I was putting this wheel back on. If you're watching this before your install, do yourself a favor and get yourself some aftermarket lug nuts. These factory lug nuts tend to expand as they get to, as you do tire rotations, and the tire shops or the dealer, they just over torque them and they end up expanding, and they end up becoming almost impossible to get off. I don't have lug nuts right now to put on here. This truck is still brand new. It only has about 3,000 miles on it, so I got a while before they even touch the tires. I will be adding some black aftermarket lug nuts to replace these ones, but do yourself a favor, do that while you're messing around here. It'll save you a lot of headaches down the road. All right, here's the passenger side all installed. Everything torqued down, just like the driver's side. Airline is ran, a little bit of slack there. I'll get it zip tied. I did want to show you guys the T that I did in the back. So a lot of people like to take these bolts out and use one of the bolt holes to mount the air fitting in. I just decided to drill a hole there and go for it. I just didn't like the fact of having to drill out the factory mounting plates just in case I got rid of this and needed to pull all this out or whatever might happen. So that's what I did. Anyways, here's the T. I wanted to show you the T fitting up in here. So I got it all fitted up. There's the part that will pop out. Lines are, you can see now that I have it pulled, lines are roughly the same length, so we shouldn't have any problems, even though line length doesn't matter. But yeah, there's the T. Gonna finish this, putting this in the license plate there, get everything bolted up, get that tire back on, get it on the ground, and put some air in. I'll let you check back in when I'm done with that. All right, got it all put back together. Got the fitting on. Got about 5 pounds of air in there. As you can see, the bags have a little bit of air in there. They're a little soft. Everything went together right. Aired up just fine, no leaks, no problems. Let's take it for a test drive. All right, guys, just driving the truck. Just on some roads here by my neighborhood. I don't feel any difference with 5 pounds of air in the bags. Seems to be riding exactly the same. Maybe just so slightly, just a little bit more bounce, maybe. But nothing to really write home about. So that's good. That's what I run it. That's what they'll be ran at for daily driving is 5 psi. And in a couple days when I hook up the trailer, I plan to put about 50 psi in them and hook the trailer up and go for it and see what it does. So we'll check back in. We'll do another video for this next camping trip coming up, showing the setup. I'll do a quick review on the Hensley hitch, and we'll film the camping trip and the adventures we go on. We'll talk about the airbags, and we'll keep on trucking. Thanks for tuning in.